Hello, my name is Xavier, owner of XD and the creator of the XD Tutorial Maker. This tutorial is basically to give you a visual cue of how to set up this tutorial maker, as well as those of you who are thinking about making a purchase. Hopefully this tutorial gives you a brief overview of the power and the convenience of this tutorial maker. I created this tutorial maker because I know a lot of you out there are excellent teachers and excellent designers of tutorials, but you may just not have the scripting knowledge of actually being able to tell a box how to res out an object into world and then spit out some text. This tutorial maker again was designed to basically take those tutorials that you've created and spread them out to a much larger audience. After you receive the XD Tutorial Maker from Marketplace, res out the package out to world and you'll get something like that. It'll say touch me to receive tutorial creator. Just click on it. A pop-up box will come up saying, do you really want to keep these? And yes, you do want to keep them. Now you're probably going to get some other options that come up saying that some of the items are non-copyable and stuff like that. Just hit OK on those. If you open up your Recent tab, you're going to get a folder that's called XD Advanced Tutorial Creator Box. Open that up and you'll see that there's a README note card that you can read through and then set up instructions, which is there's both a quick and dirty quick setup instructions as well as very in-depth about all the different caveats and different features of this actual tutorial creator. The first thing you want to do though is you have an item that's called XD to Advanced Steps, Scripts, and Config. So you take that and res it out to world. And when that comes up, you just want to click it and open up. And there'll be two items inside of that box. You want to copy those to inventory. I'm just going to close this because we don't need this right now. So now in inventory we have a new folder called XD Advanced Steps, Scripts, and Config with a note card in it and a script. So just remember where those are. We'll be using those later. We don't need either one of these boxes anymore, so I'm going to delete them. To set up the tutorial maker device, res out the object named XD Tutorial Maker Distributor version 2.19. When that finally reses, right click on it, do edit. You'll get a build edit screen that comes up and go to the content folder. The first thing you're going to want to do is delete the objects 1, 2, 3A and 4 name it anything, because those are the ones that the example that I've already created just as kind of a little demo. So you just want to delete those objects out of there. You don't want them anymore. The next thing you want to do is double click on the note card that says Main.Config. Your Main.Config note card is the actual note card where all the text of your tutorial is stored in. But before we get to that, the first thing you want to do is you see this channel. You want to change that to a different channel. So it can be a negative number, positive number, anything you want to. So I'm just going to create just a random old number. And I'm actually going to copy that. I'm just going to highlight it and do Control C if you're on a PC. And I'm going to hit save. That channel is the channel that it's going to be talking to the pieces that it reses out on that channel. So you want that to be unique. If you're creating multiple different tutorial makers, you'll want to make sure that that number is different on every single tutorial. That way they don't accidentally talk to each other. Our next step is to actually set up the objects that we want the tutorial maker to actually res out in world, depending on the step that we're going to be doing. So what I've done here is I'm going to be doing a a tutorial on how to build a little dollhouse here, and it's going to be a little short tutorial, but hopefully it'll give you the right idea. So what I've done is I've taken my dollhouse and I've rezzed it out at the spot that I want it to be at when somebody is doing this tutorial. So I'm actually positioning it in world just by rezzing it and moving it around to where I want the tutorial maker to actually spit it out. The next thing I've done is for each step, so when I say step I mean one step is creating floors, another step is creating walls, another step is creating the roof, and one step is going to be making a door. So you'll see how I've linked all those different prims together for each step. So each step I've linked all the prims together, and and then for the name I've all called them something unique. So for example, for the floor, it's step 1, so I called it 1. You can name these anything you want to do. I've just found it that it's very easy to basically name your objects the same as the step that they're going to get rezzed out at. Then you can remember for later. But again, you can name it any old thing that you want to name it. It's no big deal. The next thing I'm going to do is from my inventory, I'm going to take those two objects, the step.config card and the XD tutorial description steps script, and I'm going to place it in each one of those link sets. Before I do that though, I'm going to double click on the steps.config and I'm going to paste in that exact same channel that I entered in the Main.Config note card in the tutorial device. So that's the exact same number that's in the note card of the device down here. And I'm just going to hit save and I'll close it. From there I'm going to click on the Contents tab, and from my inventory I'm going to drag the steps and the config card into the object. And I'm going to do that for every single one. So for this example I'm going to do it 4 times here. And you'll notice this particular prim, it has a script in it. That's okay, that doesn't matter. It's very flexible with that. So you can even have, say, the tutorial maker rezz out a tip jar at the very end or something like that, or whatever you want to do. So it doesn't matter if the prims have other scripts in them. After I do that, I'm going to go back to my tutorial device and I'm going to click and hold anywhere on the border of the tutorial device for about 30 seconds. And you're going to get this message, okay to let go of the mouse, bringing up setup menu, and then you're going to get this setup menu. What you want to do is click on record, and that's going to record the position of where this dollhouse is in relation to the tutorial device. After I've done that, I'm going to want to right click on each piece of my tutorial and select take. It's very important to take all of these individually into inventory. You don't want to just pick it all up at once. You want to take each piece into an inventory. Just like that. Then you right click on your tutorial maker device, do edit, build menu, go to the contents tab, and we want to select those 5 pieces and drag them into the contents of the tutorial creator. The very last step that we're going to do is we're going to go into the contents of the tutorial maker And we're going to double click on that Main.Config note card one more time. That's going to bring up a note card. Now in here we've already changed the channel to the correct channel. This timer, what the timer does is it says how long do I wait in between clicks of the device before I determine that, no one's there clicking on the device, essentially. Okay, so if, let's say some user clicks through only 2 of the steps and then leaves after 10 minutes, that's how it's set up right now for the default, it's going to just clear out the tutorial out of world. That way, the next person can easily come and start the tutorial over. These lines down here are the actual wording that's going to get spit out whenever a step gets rezzed out in world. So you'll notice that this number 1 here, that's the name of the object that I want to rezz out when I complete this step. So I'm going to change it to 1, and then I'm going to put down the text here that I want it to spit out. If I hit the Enter key, you actually create a new line. See how I've created a new line there? That's actually going to basically break the line. So you'll say step 1, create, and of course I misspell create, create 2 prims for your floor and put them together, and then it'll spit out another line, put a nice looking clean wood texture on them. Okay. In between each step we're going to have a blank spot, a blank line. It has to have a blank line, otherwise it's not going to work. And then you'll see this is the next step that I want rezzed out. So that's actually the name number 2 of the walls. And then again I have my text. You'll notice on this line I don't have the name of an object or a parenthesis mark here, right? That means when the user clicks on next step, all that's going to happen is this text is going to get spit out at them. It's going to tell them this line, and no objects are going to get rezzed out. So that's really good if you want to say, give a little caveat to the tutorial or something where maybe a prim isn't rezzed out during that step. So you don't have to rezz out an object with the tutorial maker every single time you want to tell the user something. This one here, I'm going to change it to 3 because I just have the object name 3, but we'll work on it. Or you know what, I actually call that object number 4. And then for the very last step, I put a 5, again with the parenthesis, and that's going to be my last step. You'll notice that at the very bottom, I have done and then parenthesis. That's very important. That's your very last prim that basically, thanks them for taking the tutorial and telling the user that your tutorial is completed. Again, that's a pretty important prim to have because it essentially wipes out all the other prim that are out in world, so that for the next person it's all clean or whatnot, so they can start brand new, fresh. So I've created a done and then a comma and then what I want it to say. You'll see in the contents tab I've already have a done prim, so you don't need to make one, so you can just leave that in the contents, or you can definitely make one of your own and just name it done. Pretty simple like that. I'm just going to click on save.